Here's a great idea for your next outing. A cruise of the L.A. Harbor on a Spirit Cruises yacht. Spirit Cruises offers everything you need to relax and enjoy your time on the water. For more information, call 310-548-8080 or visit spiritmarine.com.
Time now for another Thrashpie radio podcast. Welcome one and all. I am Thrashpie, your favorite guy. Celebrating the legendary pure rock format from the years, the 9, almost 10 years of KNAC-FM pure rock in California's heavy metal flagship right here in God's own city, Long Beach, California. I'm still sharing parts of the Gregg Steele interview that I did fairly recently. And this one, you know, it's a question that I had to ask everyone that I've been interviewing in this sort of history and documentary thing of the KNAC years that I shared with all of those people. You know, the end of it was quite an emotional thing for everyone, not just audience members. As I recall, dozens of people outside the studios on the very last day, which was February 15th, 1995. What time in the afternoon did it die, Mike? It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just... my research there with the king of radio show producers, Mike Stark, who was also there. In fact, Brian Schock was the program director at the end of it. And Gregg Steele, who we're going to hear from in just a few moments, has his own story of the end and what it meant to him. Let's listen to that.
It was weird the way it ended. I had left. At the time, my personal life was in a little place of upheaval. We'd just gone through the riots and Los Angeles. I was in a relationship with a girl. Man, you know what? When I get married, I want to have kids. And again, no offense to Fred Sands with the company, but like they weren't paying me a great amount of money, and I wanted to be able to raise my kid in an okay universe. And it wasn't safe, and there were gangs, and the school district sucked. You'd have to put your kids in a private school, and these are all things I thought and projected. And I was like, I can't keep doing this, you know? Mm-hmm. And I got a job offer in my hometown in Minneapolis. Paid me almost twice the money. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this will be fun. And I'll move to the next chapter of my life. So I did. It got bought like 8 months into it due to the deregulation of the broadcast industry. So now our competitor bought us and then to turn up the radio station and use it as a weapon against other stations in the market. So I was out of work after 8 months or so. As I was sitting in Minneapolis trying to figure out what to do, word came down that KNAC was sold to a Spanish broadcaster. When that happened, there was a pretty good exodus of really talented air personalities. Long Paul, Maxwell, both went over to KLOS.
That's right.
What else?
Yeah, Kerry'd gone back over there, and he tried to turn it into an alternative station or something like that. He changed it slightly, yeah.
Definitely. But so, Brian Schock was the programmer, and he was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Ratings aren't going to be a thing because we're not going to change the format now until end of February, but I'm losing air staff left and right. So finding people that could fill in as a full-time DJ that knew the music, right, and would move to Los Angeles for the little money that would be offered. I was like, look, I know what the money is. I know how to live on this. I can do it. I know the music. So I came back for the final few months and worked on the air. Working for Brian because, we had a great relationship. There was no, competitive weirdness. Like, he had worked for me and now I'm working for him. And it was like, none of that. We all knew that it was important to be a part of KNAC at the very end. And so I took the opportunity on gladly, and it was a really interesting time frame because where I had left the radio station as a programmer, Brian moved it a little bit even further out. Whether, I don't know, it was a good or bad decision, it could have been an extension of the decision that I made, but the reality was, in the final months, we were now just going to get this whole retro glow on, and we played a lot of stuff that was unusual and different, and it was great. I mean, it was really celebrating the radio station in a manner that, it hadn't been in a long time. We were so busy trying to be competitive and moving forward that we kind of lost a few pieces of the past along the way.
Yeah, I agree.
And when we got to, they all didn't necessarily fit anymore, as we were thinking it would. Ultimately, when you go back and put those pieces back in, you see how it actually did work together. And it was what the essence of the radio station was. And you could play Exodus next to, Butthole Surfers or whatever and find a way that it could work,
Yeah.
And so it was a great last few months of basking in the sunlight. I recently lost my mother. She Alzheimer's, and all of us have lost people, and probably have all lost people. And in some cases, it's going to happen before it's going to happen. And you just want them to be able to have some sunlight. You want them to be able to know when they go that they've been appreciated. When my mom, I'm getting choked up now, but when my mom passed, I wanted to make sure I had ample time to tell her what she's meant to me. Mm-hmm. And whether she understood it or not, because of her Alzheimer's, but when people go suddenly, you don't have that time. And you always kick yourself to say, I wish I would have shared this with the person that's most important to me. And we had the opportunity to do that with our listeners who have supported us through thick and through thin, through format variations. And so I think that the way that Brian crafted the radio station at the end, and the way that the fans of the music and the people that liked hearing what we did came out day in and day out during those last months was something I'll never forget. It was a really special time to be a part of something that you never see in radio. When radio stations go away, it's usually, boom, formats change, never get to say goodbye. And I get that. I understand there's this, you don't want to, make all these things happen. But we had months to say goodbye, and it was awesome. Yeah. It was the greatest send-off ever, and I loved every second of being a part of it.
Yeah, I did too, and it meant a lot to me too. I get emotional when I think about it. Well, I was sorry to hear about your mom. Mine also passed from Alzheimer's, but about a year earlier, and I went through exactly the same emotions that you're talking about wanting to be able to express to her, what she meant to you, but also knowing that she had absolutely no idea what I was talking about at that point.
Exactly. But you know what? You hope that there's some light flickering that they get it, but as much as I wanted it for her, it was important for me to do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like radio. Uh-huh. You think you're giving a message out to people, but you don't know who's actually listening. You don't know if the light's flickering on or off. You don't know actually how many people are listening at any one moment that you're talking. But you know what? It was important for me as the person in that booth when I hit that microphone switch to be able to say the things and communicate what I felt at the moment made the connection with those people. And so it's kind of the same as you're talking to an Alzheimer's patient. You don't know whether they're actually hearing it or not,
right.
But you're actually turning your microphone on and you're saying, here's what I have to tell you anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird...
No, it's actually a decent analogy that I hadn't thought of. It's most apropos, I think so. Well, listen, my friend, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I'm pretty much done. You've given me aces here. This is tremendous. I wanted insight, and you certainly have given that. I can't thank you enough for this, Greg.
My pleasure. And if there's more that you need, if you feel that as you're completing some things and you want to, seek out some more stuff, just hit me up, and I'm happy to. And thank you for your professionalism throughout the years, and your kindness, and your non-professionalism.
Okay, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what's going on my tombstone.
Well, look, you've shown your ass more than anyone really would say.
Jesus, please. I hope I've grown up somewhat since then. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Thank you so much.
Take care, man. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
All right, thanks, Greg. Bye-bye. He had to bring up the famous Thrashpie BA. I don't know whether I should be famous for that or not. It's ugly. Well, the end of that, like I will say again, was such an emotional thing for everyone, all of us. I just, had a habit in those days of just reacting badly to things that really upset me. And I did. I just, I didn't know how else to act. It was, the most beloved place I had ever worked, around the most beloved people that I had ever been around. We were all 100% in and committed, and I'm starting to choke up now. But God bless Gregg Steele and the great people that we had working for us at that radio station. I will never, ever forget it. And I'll have more interviews with great people like Gregg Steele. We're going to hear from Craig Williams. We're certainly going to hear from Brian Schock, who Greg was just effervescent about the job that Brian did, and I agree with that 100%. Also, Ton Mastery will be featured. As many more of the staff as I can get a hold of. Also, Gary Price, the unsung hero, the genius behind the entire thing. So, thanks so much for checking out my podcast here. Comments and correspondence of any kind, welcome at thrashpieradio@gmail.com. Give us a like and a share. Keep your eye on your Facebook page for the next Thrashpie Radio podcast.